All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Echo Live. My name is Sierra, and I'm one of the staff astronomers here at the Michigan Science Center. Now, very excitingly, just within the last couple of weeks, we have actually opened a brand new show in our planetarium here at the Michigan Science Center. Now, this brand new show includes a thorough look at all of the planets we have in our solar system and talks about the potential of life here on Earth, in Mars, and even further beyond within our wider galaxy. Now, I'm going to give you guys a sneak preview at the kind of topics we'll be discussing in our brand new show. So hopefully after you get a look at some of the places that we can find life, you'll be interested to try and check it out here in our planetarium yourselves. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are going to go ahead and we are going to travel beyond our place here on Earth and actually go a little bit further beyond it. So I need everyone to strap in to their imaginary seatbelts. Let's get into the rocket ship of our imagination. Click, click. And now we're going to blast off in 3, 2, 1. I know, pretty cool, right? So right now we are actually above the Earth's atmosphere. We're getting an up-close look at the planet we have all spent our entire lives on. Now you're able to see some lines in the distance. So these are the lines of our orbits. So we have the line of the Earth orbiting the sun. That's that blue line right over here. And then we also have the yellow line going around the Earth. So this yellow line you can see at the bottom is actually that of the International Space Station, which is a group of astronauts that do scientific experiments all year round from actually above Earth's atmosphere. Earth, like I said before, is the place we all live on and is actually the only place that we know of so far that has life in the first place. That's because the Earth exists in what we call the habitable zone. The habitable zone is the area around an orbiting star where it's not too hot and not too cold for liquid water. Earth is right smack dab in the middle of our sun's habitable zone. That means that we get to have liquid water. In fact, the entire surface of the Earth is over 70% liquid water. So we have plenty of what we call the building blocks of life. Because we have access to so much water and we have a lot of other things in our atmosphere that make it possible for life, we are living pretty cozy here on the third rock from the sun. But there are other places that we have thought of in the past that, you know what, maybe there's life here. And one of these places is actually our nearest celestial neighbor. That, of course, happens to be the moon. So we're going to change gears and we are going to go ahead, take a look at our closest neighbor, and we're going to fly on over to visit the moon. Now, we have a lot of theories about the origin of the moon in the first place. Thousands of years ago, when people looked up at the moon, they saw these big dark spots on it. So these big dark spots here that you can actually see at night when you're looking up at the moon. We thought that those were liquid oceans. So because of that, they got the name Maria, which means seas in Latin. Nowadays, we have done enough exploration about the moon to know that's not actually liquid ocean at all. In fact, it's not water of any kind. It's just smooth over basaltic rock that we think was caused by volcanic eruptions thousands and even longer years ago. So volcanic eruptions on the surface of the moon is a pretty interesting topic because there's definitely no volcanic activity now. This actually ties into one of what we think is a possible origin for the moon. Studies of the moon rocks have shown that it has a very similar composition to rocks we have here on Earth. Now, it's entirely possible the moon was actually a part of the Earth at one point. And millions of years ago, there was a catastrophic collision with a space rock from outer space that actually broke the Earth up into two different pieces. So we have the big Earth that we all live in, and then a part of it broke off to form the moon. Now that's just one possible theory as to the moon's origin, but it would explain a lot of the mysteries we have about the moon, like why the rock's composition is so close to Earth. Even if that's the case, there's definitely no life on the moon now. It has no signs of life, so no biological signatures. It has no liquid water on its surface, and we have studied it very, very thoroughly. Actually, it's the place in the outer space that we have studied more thoroughly than we have the Earth. So we are pretty certain that at this point, there is no life on the moon. But what about even further out? So let's go ahead. We are going to face off in a different direction, and we are actually going to go visit another planet in our solar system. This planet has been in the news a lot this last year. That's because earlier this year, we landed a rover on its surface, a rover called Perseverance. Now, at this point, you guys might know what planet this is. It is the other planet that we think is most likely to host life, and that is, of course, the red planet Mars. So, just like we saw with Earth, there are some lines going around Mars. These lines are, of course, orbits. Now, Mars actually has 2 moons, unlike our own 1 moon. But Mars's moons, I'd have to say, are a little bit less interesting than our own. That's because they're a lot smaller and they're not perfectly spherical like our moon. They're actually kind of lumpy and shaped like potatoes. That's because we believe that these moons were actually asteroids that were taken by Mars from the asteroid belt. And their names are Phobos and Deimos. But we're not going to focus on them right now. We're actually a little bit closer to Mars' surface. Now, Perseverance the rover landed at the beginning of this year. It actually landed in a place called the Jezreel Crater. And the reason it did that is because it's searching for signs of life. Now, the Jezreel Crater is actually a delta on the surface of Mars. A delta means that it was an area where water once flowed. There's actually lots of places on the surface of Mars where we can see traces of liquid water. However, we can't find any liquid water now on its surface, or at least not very much. So because of that, we're trying to figure out, 1, where the water went, and 2, if water deeper in Mars has actually allowed some microbial life to form. And that's exactly what Perseverance is doing. So Perseverance is breaking into rocks on the surface of Mars and trying to see if any of the water that used to be flowing freely on Mars' surface went through a process called crystallization. So in other words, the water got absorbed into the crust on Mars and actually became part of its molecular structure. If that's a possibility, it could mean that there is liquid water deeper into Mars' surface. And if that's the case, maybe there's life form there as well. So that's another possibility of life happening here in our solar system. Mars is actually also inside of the sun's habitable zone. However, it's on the very, very edge of it. So if you think of it like a big disk, our planet, the Earth, is in the center of this disk, and Mars is hanging out by the edge. That means there's a chance there's liquid water, but we haven't seen very much evidence of any liquid water existing now, though there clearly was some liquid water that existed in the past. All right, so now that we got a chance to check out some possible locations for life here in our solar system, we're actually going to head back to our home planet Earth. I wasn't going to leave you guys stranded here on Mars. I think it'd be a little bit difficult for you guys to get back to Earth on your own. Now, we just talked about some of the different ways that we can see life in our very own solar system, but our solar system just has 8 planets. There are so many other opportunities for life even further out in outer space. And if you want to hear about that, as well as learn about some of the other planets that we have inside of our solar system, definitely come visit the Michigan Science Center soon and check out our brand new show, Other Worlds. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me here today. We'll be having another Echo Live next Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. And if that changes in any way, we'll be sure to let you guys know. But thank you so much for joining me here today, and enjoy the rest of your day.